Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm joined by Andy Smith and we are going to be doing this new tag called the YouTube Friends tag, and basically I answered 5 questions over on Andy's channel and he is going to be answering 5 questions here on my channel. So it's just a nice little way to get to know each other, and we only know each other through YouTube, so this is a really fun way to sort of get to know each other more, get to know each other more on a more personal level. Andy's a huge Malazan fan, so if you have watched my videos, you probably already know about Andy's channel, but just in case, go check him out and subscribe for that sweet booktube content.
That sweet booktube content.
I am just gonna jump in with the first question. It's more of a challenge, but if you didn't know, Andy has his own micro cinema. I really like that you call it a micro cinema.
Yep.
And it has its own cafe and bookstore. And so my challenge for you is to create a coffee drink based off of a fictional character.
Oh, boom, baby. This is slam dunk. Okay, so we were working on a cardamom latte right now, and we're trying to get the levels right. Obviously, that's going to be more of like a wintry drink when things come around. But cardamom obviously is that like nice tan color, almost tawny, one might say. And I think also, if I remember right, in Live Ship, amber is once described as smelling sort of like spice. Cardamom latte, there would be the amber latte, and it would just be very strong in flavor, but smooth and really nice and warm on a hot day, or on the decks of a ship, mayhaps.
Awesome answer. I love that.
Yes.
Not just because it's Robin Hobb, but because I love cardamom. I'm Indian, so I feel like I have to love cardamom. And I love amber. So when I visit you in Minnesota, I want to have that.
I was trying to think of a Fitz beverage that would be like very bitter, but I was like, that's not going to be a good latte.
Yeah, Fitz would just have like a shot of espresso, like nothing else.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, this next question I think is really interesting because you have like a background in philosophy, and I always find that really interesting when you talk about it on your channel. So how has reading fantasy influenced your like personal philosophy in life, or just like your personal like moral ethics? Because I know that it's definitely influenced me to change the way I think about certain things. So I'm curious if it's done the same for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge question. To step back, I think I've always said that like Lord of the Rings was my first like true love of cinema, cinema true, but also of like fantasy books in general. And so I would always say the theme of that, I mean, obviously I have a Lord of the Rings tattoo. The theme of that is that there's good in the world and it's worth fighting for, like Sam says that. And I think that is a very like powerful idea, that you have to do good in those moments that you were able to do good for. And in various large fights or small fights, you need to be fight for the good. So that's always been very important. I grew up in a very sort of conservative Christian house. I have since obviously I made a whole video about how I've changed from those views, so you can check that out if you want more information there. But another one that has had a huge impact on me as well is obviously Malazan Book of the Fallen. Again, I made a whole video about how postmodernism interacts with Malazan, and I think that's very important. But also just on my personal like ethics. The whole idea of compassion, meaning like to look at a situation from the other person's perspectives and try to learn from that, and to give that sort of compassion freely in all of these very difficult situations. Not to always say that the person who you have compassion on, like you take on their views, but you try to understand them where they're at. And that has been very impactful in how I, address or try to address moments in my life. Another book I remember being very impactful for me is The Stranger by Albert Camus. It's a small little book. It's very postmodern. It's like not really like a happy book, but it's extremely existential in the sense of like, it just takes you into this guy's mind and his sort of like nihilistic floating throughout the world without meaning. But what it does is it puts you in someone's mind who's like that, and challenges you to find out like why you think differently from that. And sort of that combines with sort of my deep belief in like a greater good, and that there is good worth fighting for, and how that interacts with people in different areas. So I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm just kind of throwing out references of like things that have very big impact on me, but that's definitely been it. Fantasy particularly, the cool part about fantasy is that like a lot of metaphors can like just be made real. In Memories of Ice, at one point, like there's a group of zombies who you have to try to have compassion on. You know what I mean? Or like zombie warriors that you have to have compassion on, which is crazy and weird, and like doesn't, that's never on the face of it going to be impactful to us in our daily life. But we also recognize that there are like hordes of people that are completely different from us, that have different viewpoints, that we have to have compassion on. So that's what I love about fantasy, is that metaphors can be made very, very real and specific, and situations can be made, because it's all make-believe, that teach us something about ourselves, that is easier than if we're taking like real life situations.
This one's a kind of easier question, but since we both have spent time in California, and I think you enjoy going there. What's your favorite place in California to visit? If you're going for the weekend, just to hang out, have a good time.
Okay, so I mean, I am a complete fan of Los Angeles, the city. So like, I will sing the praises of Los Angeles forever. So that's going to be my real answer. Before I get there, a honorable mention I will say is Lake Tahoe, if you've never been there. Lake Tahoe is up in the Sierra Nevadas, and it's a beautiful, gorgeous lake up in the mountains. Crystal clear, beautiful. So Lake Tahoe, my family goes there. We used to go there every year. Now that we're all older and married and spread throughout the country, we only go once every other year. But Los Angeles, I will say, for a weekend, I'm going to name a couple things people should do in Los Angeles if they go for the weekend. One, hike up to Griffith Observatory. Absolutely gorgeous view. It's a great hike. You can see the Hollywood sign the whole time, especially if you go in the morning. There's also a lot of beautiful people. Basically, if you hike anywhere in Los Angeles, there's a ton of beautiful people. Topanga Canyon and Runyon Canyon are also really good hikes for that, and good views. Be sure you go and look at the view at the Griffith Observatory. It's absolutely gorgeous at Griffith Park. If you're there in the summer, the Los Angeles Shakespeare Company does free performances of Shakespeare classics in the park at the Griffith, the old LA County Zoo. If you can get to one of those, definitely do that. Go to Venice Beach. Abbot Kinney Boulevard is one of my favorite streets in the world. I think it's just gorgeous. Intelligentsia is there, which is one of the most famous U.S. roasteries and coffee shops you can go to and just kind of go in these cool little shops and bars. I love Santa Monica. The pier, not so much, but the area around the pier I think is really fun.
The pier is nice if you have like a family and you have kids and you want to like entertain them.
It's like a carnival, but you know, expensive one. But it is cool to go. But I like the area around Santa Monica, and the 3rd Street Promenade is there. Go see UCLA, walk around Westwood. It's very cool in the West Village. Man, I love Los Angeles. If you haven't, go to the, I feel like I'm just like talking to you and telling you things you should do when you go back if you haven't. But
I'm learning a lot.
Since we're book people, the last bookstore I'm sure you've been to in downtown.
I haven't.
Oh, and
I don't know if you know Chris. He's the author of Seasons of Albadan, and he said that we're totally gonna go when I get back. So we're planning a bookstore trip to the last bookstore. And Vroman's in Pasadena is another place that I've never been, and I really need to go.
Oh man, maybe when I visit my folks next, if you haven't done that, we'll go on a bookstore tour. That'd be fun. With us.
For sure.
The Disney concert hall, you know, that big like shimmering thing. They have free tours. Every day, at least they did before the pandemic, and it's just free. Nice. And it's just a gorgeous tour of the whole place, and it's this very beautiful concert hall. It's really unique. I'll stop talking because I could talk about LA for a long time, but I love Los Angeles. I think it's the greatest city in the world, bar none.
Speaking of LA, who is your favorite director? That's not a good segue at all. But
I thought it worked pretty well. I mean, so there's so many. How strict do you want me to be? Do you want me to list off a couple of my favorites, or have to pick one?
You can do like a top 5.
Ooh, you are very merciful. Okay, so Peter Jackson has to be there because Lord of the Rings, and I absolutely adore those films. The funny thing is, I basically don't like anything else Peter Jackson has ever done. Like, I don't like King Kong. I don't like The Lovely Bones. Whatever that new one that came out recently.
Oh, the Mortal Engines.
Mortal Engines, like,
yeah, I haven't seen
those. I thought, like, I don't like the Hobbit movies, except for like the first hour of the first one when they're actually in Hobbiton. I think it's kind of fun. But like, so that's kind of rough to say like he's my all-time favorite, but Lord of the Rings is so important and so gorgeous and so perfect. I think still got to be there. I really love Damien Chazelle. He is the director of La La Land, as well as First Man and Whiplash. All of those are very, very good films that are important to me. Barry Jenkins, so far he's only directed 3 films, but all of them are very good.
Yeah, Moonlight's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yep, so he did Moonlight. If Beale Street Could Talk, I think is actually even slightly better in my view than Moonlight, but I like both of them a lot. Have you seen If Beale Street Could Talk?
I've seen both of them, and that's a very... I don't want to get too into it, but I mean, they're both fantastic movies, and I mean, Moonlight to me is just the perfect movie. Like, it's gorgeous, but I don't want to get too into it because I could rant for an hour about Moonlight. But
it's basically a perfect movie. I definitely agree with that. If Beale Street Could Talk just has one of, I think, the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen, where I forget the main character's name, but he's carving in his apartment while he's smoking. Smoking these large puffs of cigarette smoke, and there's like beams coming in, and it's this gorgeous like orange sheen, but also like his skin is shot. I mean, a lot of people more knowledgeable than me talked a lot about how Barry Jenkins is so good about filming Black Beauty, and so the lighting is just right, where this guy is like, he's sweating, but it's like this beautiful glistening skin while he's working with his hands, and it's just a beautiful like moving shot with the smoke. It's one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen. So I think maybe just because of that one scene, it elevates so much to me. But anyway, sorry. So Barry Jenkins is great. Of the oldies and goodies, I love Spike Lee. Spike Lee, I think, is phenomenal. Do the Right Thing is, I think, a film every American should be forced to see at some point. Is a beautiful film. Malcolm X is very good. Black Klansman is good. Great. So I really like Spike Lee. Francis Ford Coppola, of course, because of the Godfather films, I think is just amazing. And Apocalypse Now is also a great film. Oh, Scorsese as well. I love Martin Scorsese. I just went through a big Scorsese phase when Irishman came out, where I rewatched a lot of his films, and it's great as well.
Nice, thank you. Okay, my last question, I guess, is a little basic, but what is one place you want to travel? And I guess in the interest of making it a little more interesting, I will open it up to any place, like fictional, doesn't exist anymore, historical.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really hard.
One place you'd like to like go on vacation to?
Okay, so the basic question before you made this incredibly difficult, I will say, would be Japan. I spent some time in Asia, but I've never gone to Japan, so I think that'd be very interesting, and I want to go there. And New Zealand is also high on that list. So those are kind of my two, like, I want to get to. Fictional and everything. Oh man. Okay, so I'll just kind of talk out loud. So obviously the first thing that springs to mind are Lord of the Rings locales, like Rivendell and the Shire. I like two big ones that would be awesome to go to. However, I have been to both England and Switzerland, which is kind of basically what those places are.
I would say Malazan, since that's like your favorite series, but like I would not want to go anywhere in Malazan.
I was gonna say like 7 cities. I don't want to go to 7 cities. Like Darujistan sounds cool,
maybe like when it's
like,
not.
There's always dragons trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And it's not a nice city, like especially you'll see in Toll the Hound, the 8th book, like there's some dark elements to the city. Yeah, like I don't want to go to Malaz City, like that's where the purge happens. Not the purge like movies, but the purge of magic in the Mouse Quarter. Unta's the capital, but like, I think honestly, this is not. I'm nervous to say this because this is basic, but I think it would have to be Rivendell, because Red Go and Chillax, and actually Narnia. I really loved that in my youth. I've kind of cooled on it, but talking to animals is pretty dope as shit. So that would be cool. Paravel, I think is the name of like the main like city in that. That'd be fun.
I mean, you're human. You would be king.
Son of Adam. Son of Adam, animals. Same thing with Robin Hobb. Like, I don't really want to go to Buckkeep. Like, it's fine, but it's just like a medieval castle. Bingtown. I guess Bingtown's kind of cool. The Rain Wilds I don't say much about. There's some cool elements there, but some really not cool elements. Like I'm going through like my favorite series. That's the problem with like fantasy, is they're always like scary, terrible things that could happen to me. I don't know, help me out here. My thing, like Dune is one of my favorites. I don't want to go to Arrakis.
I don't want to go to Dune. Oh no.
Yeah, the giant sand worms. No, thank you. Maybe. Okay, so this is so Song of Ice and Fire. I was thinking about one place that's kind of untouched by like the war, and it's supposed to be this gorgeous, like bountiful land, is Highgarden, where House Tyrell is. It's supposed to be really beautiful, very abundant in food, and like nothing terrible happens there, at least so far. Maybe that'd be a good one. Hogwarts.
Oh yeah.
At high time, Hogwarts, I would 100% go, or like live in Hogsmeade and go to Hogwarts every once in a while. That's it right there. That's because that has unique elements that you can't see anywhere else. It's got the charm, but like some stuff's trying to kill you, but like they've kind of figured it out. I think I would definitely go Hogwarts, Rivendell, the Shire, and Hogwarts. And I'll throw Highgarden. That at least shows maybe a little bit more nerd potential.
I like that. I will join you on your magical vacation. That sounds like a nice little trip.
Yeah, nothing trying to kill us mostly, which is good. Okay, I'm gonna stay. I feel good about that. Basic, but the right answer.
Well, thanks for coming onto my channel and reaching out for doing this tag. This was a lot of fun. I feel like I got to learn a lot about you. I kind of want to ask you more questions now, but
I know maybe we should do like a part 2.
Yeah. But I'll let you go for now. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you haven't, go check out Andy's channel. You will not regret it. And yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye, everybody.